Welcome to Y'all See This.
Reacts.
This is Eva.
And this is Nisi, and welcome back. So we're gonna jump right into the catch up today. I don't have that much of a catch up except for I'm heading back into work. I'm dreading it. So hopefully that'll all be great. I won't let anything really get to me. That's the hope. So how about you?
I am also not really looking forward to going to work. So I'm kind of split on that. I haven't been having the best weeks, which if you've been listening to the last couple episodes, you know. So, but this week it's full of things. Like we've got lots of things planned. And that is sliding us right into the school year. So we're hoping it will be excellent. I'm hoping for good things. Like I'm looking forward to, I have quite a few of the activities that I have planned. I'm really excited about those activities. I'm anxious about going back in just because of the past, but
Yeah.
also kind of excited about the things that are coming. Yeah, and then I'm worried that we're not going to have anybody because it's the week before school, and I will have planned all these awesome things and no one will show up.
But okay, so normally I know the week of, but the week after it starts, I feel like it's jam packed. Maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
We have lower, like the week of school, the week school actually starts, we have lower activities just because people are, they're getting into the routine and
Getting acclimated. Yeah.
yeah, and we'll start seeing the kids who are going to show up after school and the ones who are going to try and show up during school because there probably will be a couple of those.
Of course, of course.
The week after that is probably when we're going to start having our regulars and kind of be able to better have an idea of who's going to be coming in. But I'm excited about that. I saw a couple of really good movies and I've been watching some really great TV. That's basically it. Like I'm in love with Ted Lasso. I just adore this show and I just started the second season, so no spoilers, everybody.
Nope.
But I am just like I love it. It's such a sweet show and it has such a good like there's really nice story arcs in it. So I'm really enjoying that a lot. Yeah, keeping up with my reading. I just had to finish a book and I was like, this was not great. And I was kind of excited about it. And I'm not even gonna, say the name and blast. It was just one of those things where I was excited about it and then I read through it and I was like, this is like a 3.25 out of 5. I'm
On the book front, I have started 3. It's page 25 for all of them, and it has not caught me on anything. So yeah. But on the shows, okay, so there are 2 shows that I have just started to tune into. Well, not one I finished. Sandman. So good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. And I'm about to delve into the podcast of it. And then there is, it was a one I keep going back to. I think it's like Family Against Fiance or something like that. The drama is just like delicious. Just watched this last one where the girl had, the way that they edited it had made you think that the brother was like crazy, right? Like he was a hater and he just like didn't like that she was doing good for herself. Come to find out, she actually had been hiding that, well, she didn't hide that she had gotten pregnant, but she told her fiance she had an abortion, but she had told her family for over 2 years that she had the baby. Like she was a whole catfish in high school, apparently, to the brother's friends. For the rehearsal dinner, she had told her family that she was going to have this whole house set up, Airbnb, and it was going to have room for everybody. She had 20 people show up. Nothing. She told them they were going to have Sprinter vans so that they could get to and from. Nothing. So the fiance side was like, these people are crazy. They get here and they think that we're supposed to do all this for them. And it was because she is a liar. So that's been keeping me up at night watching, and it's been good. So I've been in my TV bag. But when I say Sandman,
So I read the comics quite a few years ago. It was so good. And I mean, Neil Gaiman, he's just everything. I mean, everything.
it is.
Then I heard that what is her name? Gwendolyn Christie was going to be Death, and I was like, yes.
She's very good.
And I saw there was a fight scene. They had like the battle scene, like just a clip online, and I was like, "This looks amazing."
It's so good. It's only 10 episodes, but and I haven't listened to the podcast yet, but I feel like they shot it separately. Like you get one thing after like 3 or 4 episodes, and then all of a sudden it just changes and you get a whole nother loop of characters. But this was not a TV review or movie
No,
review.
I know. We got into it. Okay, where were we?
We actually did come here to talk about some current events for this week. So starting off, we're going to jump right into Brittany Griner. And go give us what's going on there.
Yeah, so we wanted to give an update because we have talked about her in that situation quite a bit. We had like one of our first episodes was Brittany Griner and her situation. So Brittany Griner has been sentenced by the Russian courts to 9.5 years for the drug charges over there.
Mm-hmm.
So now that that's happening, there's been not a backlash, but you're starting to hear those reactions come through.
Yeah.
I felt like that was what was going to happen. And I think there is some talk too that it is what had to happen in order for the American government to do anything, like to do any kind of swapping and any kind of that type of thing coming through. And there is talk about swapping her for like a Russian arms dealer that we have.
Yeah.
And I think we're probably going to be hearing about it for a while until either the swap happens or something occurs.
Yeah.
I did end up watching a little bit of the WNBA game and most recently the Seattle Storm. I felt like I was going to be seeing more reaction from the teams and from the audience. It's just a matter of they've probably been advised to keep it a little bit lower toned.
I saw part of a press conference, and there were a lot of questions being asked of the teams. And it just seemed like one of the young ladies, she was like, "What do y'all want? Like, y'all keep asking us these questions. Is it that y'all want us to break down out here? It is a lot to process."
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I never thought 9 years. Obviously, if she wasn't Brittany Griner, I feel like we wouldn't be hearing about this because we're just now hearing about these other cases of not known Americans who have been over there, who have been sentenced.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, great, she's known. So you think there's a better chance of her getting out of this situation. And then it's like, oh, but she's known. So there's a chance if they want something, what you gonna give us? I'm really hoping, that it does get turned around. Maybe the sentence just gets, I don't know. I don't even know what to think. I originally had the thought of stop going to people's countries and playing these games. Don't bring stuff. You know what I'm saying? But the sentence of 9 years, I think she had like 0.7 grams or milliliters.
But I just kind of want to piggyback off what you just said. I think when we initially heard the story, we're like, yes, you need to know the laws of the place that you're going. Yeah. But we also have to take into account, especially hearing the sentence, she's over there because she's not able to get paid over here. It was politicized and it came just at the moment of the Ukraine versus Russia thing.
Yeah.
And so there is definitely the weight of, is this more of like a political prisoner type situation? Mm-hmm. And because of her fame and because of her name, it's really all we can hope for is that the government's doing what they can do.
So we're going to move over to something that I feel is wild just because of the pettiness of the situation. So this week there was a couple of clips that were dropped of a podcast of called Drink Champs. And they had Gotti on there. And the first clip that I saw that was dropped was about Gotti saying that he found out that Ashanti was dating Nelly by watching TV. And he says that this was the woman I loved. I'm in love with this woman, and she did me like this. And then you remember he was married, and it's like, my guy, you really out here spilling beans.
Uh-huh.
And Ashanti was one of your artists. To me, look shady. And then now you're telling this. So in that clip, he didn't really say that they were in a relationship or anything was going on. He just said that he was in love with her. So it kind of was like, well, Ashanti's not here to say anything about it. How about we just leave it there? Then another clip dropped. And in that one, he decides to let us all know that after they had had sex, him and Ashanti, that's where the song Happy came from. And I just feel like, what is this little man complex that is falling up out of this man? I don't really know Irv Gotti except for way back when. I don't understand this. Like, you couldn't keep this to yourself, this chatty patty little conversation. Like, okay, it's a room full of dudes. I never knew that they messed around. Maybe that was just an industry thing, but I feel like if she ain't up here to claim it, why are you claiming it for her? What do you think?
I think, like you said, it sounds very much like locker room talk. And I have never heard, her come out and be like, oh yeah, I was with, we were together. And I don't know if she's ever come out and said no, like denied it outright.
Okay.
But because it looks very desperate and even beyond petty. I know, like you're giving it a very generous, he's just being, it looks slightly desperate. He saw she was with Nelly, and that's been on and off, because I don't know if you know, like that's been on and off for like a decade. Like
we've known this.
Yeah, everybody knows it. Yeah, and then for him to be like, oh yeah, I saw them, and and it broke my heart. And it's like, you have a whole wife, you have a whole, and also like he was the lead of the record company, so this also feels very much like workplace harassment. Like, sir, she is your employee.
But how do you know that she wants everyone to know that she was okay at some point in time with being the mistress? Yeah. You knew you were married. Clearly she knew you were married. How do you know that she wants that information out there?
If it's even true. Let's start there. Like, because locker room talk is locker room talk. Yep. And it just feels like, if, like you said, if she's not claiming it, keep it to yourself.
Yeah. There's also the thing of that he is slightly promoting his, there's a documentary that's coming out about murder. Ain't supposed to be feeding this because this is going to be in the documentary. Mm-hmm. But I'm just like, if you got to throw somebody under the bus to promote your documentary, keep it. We want to move on to our next topic, which is
Petsmart. Oh. This makes me slightly sad because we are a Petsmart family. That's where we go to get our dog groomed. So this story is about the grooming academy at Petsmart. So on August 1st, an article was released about a recent lawsuit. A former groomer at Petsmart is suing the company because the company provides this free, with quotation marks, free on-the-job training called their Grooming Academy and to their employees. And they are requiring the groomers to stay with the company for 2 years after they begin the training.
Sorry. I didn't think it was gonna fall that hard.
I might keep that in. That was hilarious.
That's fine.
In order for the groomers to participate in this which ends up being mainly on the job training and like shadowing other groomers, they have to sign a document that's literally called a trap. It's called like, that is the actual name of the document. I'm going to see if I can find the actual name of it, because I pulled it up because I was like, this is wild. It's called the Training Repayment Agreement Provision.
Oh my gosh.
And so if a groomer from PetSmart leaves the company before the 2 years, they are required to repay back the cost of the training. And if they didn't provide their own supplies, their own, clippers, I mean, yeah, why would you? Like, you're getting a job. So they also have to, there's the added $500 fee for that as well. So you could be on the hook for $5,500 if you leave.
Shut up. The training is supposed to be $5,000?
They say it's worth $6,000 on their website, PetSmart. Yeah. So she's suing because she left after a year. And after a year, she ended up, so after a year in the paperwork, if you leave before the year is up, you are on the hook for $2,500 worth of that training. If you leave before the year, you're on the hook for the entire $5,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So it's mandatory.
It is mandatory to do this.
And I need it for the job.
For the job, but it doesn't actually provide any kind of like benefit to the employee. Like, there's no credentials. You don't get like a certificate. It's not like this is a standard training that you can then go in and take to another
and open
job.
Your own.
Yeah, or to open your own, or to say, oh, I'm certified groomer. Here's my nice certificate with my gold seal. None of that. And if you are one of the employees who left before the 2 years,
Mm.
that amount is due within 30 days.
I've never heard of anything like this. Like if I have to go to your training, I have to pay eventually to go to your training.
Training that they're talking about, they were taking paying customers. It wasn't like they got, a
Volunteer.
separate, yeah, volunteer they had classroom section, but they also had like the on the job portion where they were taking paying customers. They weren't like not working. This was literally them working. It's like the student debt thing. It's student debt that they are requiring. They're putting them into student debt. So they're being sued because this employee's credit ended up dropping because it went on her credit, and I'm thinking she's going to get paid. So I think they're probably going to end up,
Yeah.
what is it called, settling out of court.
Mm-hmm.
So,
For undisclosed amount.
yes, but that's going to open up the floodgates of people who have previously gone through this and didn't seek legal counsel. I'm hoping it goes in her favor because this is garbage. Like a company should not be able to charge you for the training to do the job for them. It's only for the benefit of the company.
Girl.
Yeah. I might have to find a new groomer, which makes me sad because
Yeah. You wouldn't think some big company would be doing this,
yeah,
but it'd be the ones.
you do, because they be thinking they can get away with it, and
Mhm.
like you said, they can
And
recoup.
clearly they have.
What is it? Your days are numbered, pets.
And I was actually thinking like I wanted to not definitely, but I was like, oh, I can do groomer part-time or
Yeah.
something like that. I like animals and I have no problem with like cleaning, but I was like, sometimes they bring in animals that have real problems.
Have you ever
Yeah.
thought about boarding? I always thought about maybe that might be fun. A lot of boarding places have like 20.
Exactly is that? Is that just putting them up?
Yeah, it's basically you put them up, you make sure they're fed and watered, and then you play with them. Like they have like little play times. When we board Amy, there's always like the optional, if you want to add extra playtime. The boarding place that we go to, she's
Mhm.
been there for years, and
Okay.
when we came back to Florida, like there was an employee who was there who remembered her. It was wild. That's customer service. Like she was like, Amy. Yeah, I might just have to take her over there to get groomed from now on.
Yeah.
I usually just do the boarding over there. You put your money where your values are. Really don't like that.
Mm-mm.
What PetSmart is doing. Okay, so I know we don't usually have like an extra. We usually do a pop culture and we do a news item. So I wanted to add a little good news palate cleanser. This type of news always gets me in my feels because it's just very sweet and it's like one of those things where I'm like, oh. So most people think their birth story is pretty interesting. However, I'm not sure it can beat this one. 34 years ago, a gentleman by the name of Patrick Curbs. I may be saying that wrong. Chromes. I just don't remember what it was. Peter something. He was walking down a San Francisco street when he came across a woman who was giving birth, like on the street corner.
Crowning.
So the baby, named Crystal, ended up like falling into his hands. So he assisted with the birth of this child 34 years ago. He was walking down the street and he helped in this young woman's birth. They were reunited this year, 34 years after the fact. So Crystal, the baby, ended up being adopted out, and she actually went to Virginia. So she grew up in Virginia. And so, yeah, and she had heard that she had like an interesting story. And so she went to a friend and was like, hey, help me research this. And she only had like, she knew it was in the Chronicle because it did make the first page of the Chronicle when it happened. She was looking for like, the story to see if she could find more information about her birth. Like she didn't know actually what had happened. So she finally found all this information. Her and Patrick met up in San Francisco. They took a walk to the spot where she was born, and they got to talk and she got to have that moment of closure. And I just thought that was so cute and such a sweet story.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is cool.
That was a sweet little story. So I just wanted to end on that note. And then, push us into the new week with something happy, something that makes my heart lift.
Definitely. So before we get on out of here, we just want to go ahead and let you guys know the Reacts is definitely out there now for you. So you got 2 this week, actually, you can jump into. And then the current episode that is out is No Offense. We will be talking about all the offensive things, why they are, and how we feel about it. Thank you. Bye. See you next week.